Pleasure to be with you. This is Rudy Giuliani Live, America's Mayor Live. And this is a very difficult war to follow for several reasons. The positions change quite a bit. Now, do they change because the situation is really changing? Or do they change as a matter of strategy? And I say the latter on both sides, by the way. They're both trying to outfox the other. So the president had him headed right toward a war sometime around 5 o'clock this afternoon. And somewhere last night, he pulled the plug on it based on a conversation with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, in which they claimed that there was some very substantial progress made in the possibility of a peace. Now, we don't want to discount that as being valid or invalid. We do think it's kind of late in the game to be coming up with like new things that aren't pulled out of your hat just to save you, that you're not really that committed to. And they are, and of course, with their backs up against the wall, which makes things even worse. But we should take a look at the oil market history here. Whatever the damage being done by this, and whatever the damage that will be done going forward, it is nothing like the damage 30 years ago, because oil is much more decentralized now. There's plenty of oil outside of Saudi Arabia. There's even more gas outside of Saudi Arabia. USA is one of the biggest contributors among others. China has very, very smartly maintained the Gulf of Hormuz as a checkpoint. And they didn't have to. Let's take a look at this map here, and we can see that this is a matter of choice rather than a matter of just history, because the reality is, pardon me, Ted?
No, yeah, I was going to put some. I switched over just a minute. So, of course, the president has called for a delay on the, not called for, he's implemented a delay on strikes in Iran after what he described as very good talks with Iran.
I'm just trying to get the right map here.
But this comes, so we're just going to go ahead. You ready?
All right. Da, 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 da.
So,
well, there's your basic outline of the area of question, otherwise known as the cradle of civilization. Cradle of civilization was right here between Iran and Iraq. But these bodies of water and the surrounding land, we don't know how much oil and gas there is in there. Isn't it funny, though, that one of the smallest of these countries here, right here, see if we can find it here, Qatar, right? So this little small country, Qatar, is able to produce a disproportionate amount of the natural gas. Isn't that amazing? United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, disproportionate amount of the oil. And that's really been their great strength and their downfall, because it's the colonialists and the crooked members of their population that have tried to corner the market on all that. and made the country desperate and poor and starving. And that's at the background of all of this. Oh, and then it gets even more complicated by. You see here Saudi Arabia, the big Saudi Arabia, right? And you see here the big Iran. Well, those were two separate countries back when Muhammad was around. Saudi Arabians were Arabians. Iranians were Persians. They believed in different things. They didn't believe necessarily in the same tenets of religion. They squabbled over many things, particularly successor to the monarch. And Iran, I think, more so than Saudi Arabia, I think, was the more aggressive in spreading the faith, and went around the world preaching this new way of getting to God, which transformed the world and created war after war after war. So right now, without tracing all that, which we have in the past, the situation is the Lebanese army is somewhere around over here in this area. Afghanistan is all the way over here. So they're on the other side. So the real trick in doing this is to see how many of the allies can you bring on your side or neutralize them. And here's where Iran has created a terrible problem for itself because it attacked all of its allies. It is hoping to bludgeon them into submission and have them going to Trump and say, this isn't worth it, it isn't worth it, it isn't worth it, it isn't worth it. So far, we've seen no evidence of that. So far, we've seen just the opposite. Get rid of Saudi Arabia. They're crazy. They're nuts. They're going to try to destroy the world. So, should we withdraw? Which looks likely. I don't know. It looks like it would be a grab for all. Right. And I think the Ayatollahs would be done. I think the guy running the people that are in charge will probably, many of them, be killed because they're headhunting. But there'll be a lot of new people, and some of them share their views. So I don't know. You never know what an outcome of war is going to be.
5 day. So this is the distance here we put up on this map.
Of what?
I guess we didn't talk about this yet on this show, but the significance of Iran attempting to hit Diego Garcia. Let's see if we can bring this on here.
What are you looking for?
A map right here. Shows the distances from Iran. Diego Garcia is out there. So that's about 3,000 kilometers, just kind of showing what Israeli intelligence officials say is Iran's range here.
Pardon me?
How far Iran can hit with their missiles.
Well, okay. So Iran shook everybody up by hitting a missile. It's actually beyond this map. We'll see if we can get a map of the world for you to show you that. They hit one to Sierra Garcia Air Force Base, jointly occupied by the United States and Great Britain. The problem with it is it didn't reach the base, which was proved to be a little bit embarrassing to the second-rate pilots. And they were trying to refortify, I would imagine, or maybe even restock oil because I think they have a hope they'll be able to save their treasures there. I don't know if they will or they won't. I do know that the Pope is very fond of playing Christmas music, which is somewhat inconsistent with the communist tradition. They're not
Right.
terribly Christmassy. So, what were the first couple of years of the Shah's reign like, Ted? Do you have any recollections of that, or any?
Well, we talking about the 50s? The first Shah? We're talking about the 1950s, right?
Yes.
Well, they would argue that the first couple of years saw a lot of modernization and social progress. But also at the same time, the Shah had worked on consolidating power for himself. But I guess you could characterize it as they would characterize it as secular modernization.
Build your own. See if they come.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
That might work.
And cultural change, right?
That might work.
But
Hey,
that quickly devolved, many would say, into what you saw in the 70s, where the Shah had consolidated power, had the Savak in place, and was really terrible, acting.
Yeah, I think that's worth taking a look at that period, because the Iranian people have been dispossessed, and they've been had their natural wealth taken away from them more than a few times,
Right.
and therefore I think they're. I think there's something bad going to happen there.
Yeah.
Trump has an extraordinarily hard decision to make. He's got in essence a modified ceasefire, right? Everybody wants a ceasefire. The problem is the person he has organizing it for him on the Russian side. There's a guy that as he actually came to the U.S. and he he's a fan. He gave people a lot of fans and lessons in Italian. Sure. So I think that there's a lot of parallels here between this and 1956. In 1956, on a surprise weekend, I think it was, Britain and France attacked the Suez Canal, and they took it, and they said they were going to keep it open. And the U.S. intervened. The U.S. kicked them out, saying it would alter relationships with South America such that we could never be friends. And this is not a new concept for either side. In 1956, Britain and France following Israel moved against Gamal Abdel Nasser Egypt to note that the dictator's nationalization on the Suez Canal. The U.S. reacted harshly and directed its military to the boats. So there's a little worry there that something was going on, but it turned out to be nothing, right? So I think that shows you that there is a close connection of all different kinds with Iran, and it would be a shame if we got into a pitched battle with them.
Right. So we'll see what what this 5-day, what comes with this 5-day pause. The president seems optimistic about the possibilities here to end this conflict.
Or are they trying to change it? So they're trying to blend.
Yeah, right.
Photo suppression was argued in the Supreme Court today. A narrow case. The case involving Mississippi, which has a law that the Trump administration will join the United States National Committee. And the United States shall escort it.
Well, look at that. Well, man, why don't we just take a quick break? We got to pay the bills.
Yep, go ahead.
We'll be right back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. This is Rudy Giuliani back with you on America's Mayor Live. You know, the Supreme Court heard argument today on the voter integrity case. It was a different kind of case, though. Mississippi law allows ballots to be counted after Election Day. And the Republican administration is challenging that on the grounds that it's unconstitutional. It's very, very interesting because it doesn't say that in the Constitution, but it doesn't not say that. And this becomes a question of interpretation, right? How long suppose you had a law that said you can count the ballots for 50 years. Well, that would, of course, negate completely the whole idea of an election, right? A day? No. 2? No. 3? Depending on your sensitivities, it might, right? And 2 weeks. So it's going to be a very interesting argument. Now, they did argue it today, and we're going to see as we move along if we can get a few talking points out of it. Okay, it's a case from Mississippi, which is kind of interesting, you know. Right. So the United States has put out a warning, which I guess we should have mentioned at the beginning of the show for anybody for travel. And now, the reality is that they have been talking about, especially in the Middle East, and tourist hubs in Dubai, Israel. It hasn't been in the United States. What we've had in the United States are copycat kind of situations where people seem to want to be enthusiastic about it, or nasty about it, or happy about it, and therefore try to recreate some of the craziness that might be occurring in the country itself. But we have not had we haven't had a major issue like that. The question of oil. So oil started off today in a very, very bad situation. Let me see if I can get the numbers. Well, it really had a roller coaster day. It came in very, very low. I'm sorry, very, very high. It came in very, very high. And then when the president announced that there was going to be a ceasefire of some kind, you just say the word ceasefire, and everybody in the oil market, oh, that's great, that's wonderful, it's going to start flowing again. And but one of the things that you should know is that no matter how much the damage done to the oil during the course of the war, after wars have all been big boom periods for oil. Now, this is a very strange kind of war. I'll put a couple of caveats on it. We're not as dependent on oil and gas as we were even 4 or 5 years ago. There is plenty more oil and gas in the world today, and potentially in the world today. So we're not looking at a doomsday finale. This is a dispute of far-reaching consequences, but it hasn't taken on, this part of it at least, the viciousness, the violence, and the killing that the other parts of the dispute have taken on. Now, in a way, it could, because it's at the core of the whole problem. This problem really begins when they discover oil at the end of the 18th and beginning of the 19th century. In Saudi Arabia, wasn't worth much. The British saw a great opportunity. They planted their flag. They started the British Petroleum Company. Then it was British Iran. Then it went back to British Petroleum. And the reality is they really, really, really took advantage. So let's say the breakdown in the early days was something like, do I have a whiteboard? You know, I love whiteboards.
Clean one?
Well, Yeah. I like that one. Oh, yeah, I like that one. Thank you. Oh, boy. Isn't that nice? Maybe I can find my big green one, too. Have I seen my big green one?
Pen?
And my big giant green pen. Oh.
Or the big fat ones?
Yeah, the big fat
I
ones.
haven't seen those today.
I know.
You gotta unpack them still.
I had one out.
We'll look for it.
I'm just going to take a quick peek.
You found it? Oh, you got it?
Not yet.
Here, let me pick that box up.
I'm coming real close to checking out. I think I see it. No, what's that one right there on the left? Not big enough. Okay, let's go. Here goes. We're going to see if this is good enough for you. So, you think you found it? Look at the difference. This is a weapon should Antifa come in here. Let's hope it's dark now. Some of these make a big deal out of it, and they're not very dark. Looks pretty good. Okay. So where were we, Ted?
Where are we today?
No, where were we on this?
Was it 113 a barrel? Or no, how much was your time of oil, right?
Yeah. So,
113,
so you start the day, right? You start the day, and the first thing, the day starts this morning, and all the oil people get up, and all they hear is 2 days, and all the oil in Iran. He'll be on. Now, I want you, Ted. I'm going to use this as the guest board.
Okay.
It's not Friday, I know, but we're still going to play games.
Right.
This is the guest board.
Okay.
How much oil does Iran, who's causing all this trouble, how much oil does it produce for the world now?
What percentage?
Yeah, what percentage?
8?
Oh, I'm going to have to use a different one. This isn't very clear, but you'll see it. Anyway.
3. Very small percentage.
They can't even see
I
that.
was going to say 4.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a big fat pen here. I'm going to go with one of
It's
my,
like almost, that's like a half. Oh, what do you
going
need?
to go with one of my fat pens. One of my big fat pens. Yeah. 3%. That's it. 3% for them. 3% for them. Now, the price of oil today, when it started, can you get a look at there over there? I can look at a little chart. I'm going to show you how it went up and down.
Yeah.
What was it per gallon?
What date?
Today.
I'm trying to find it.
Today.
Sorry. Today is current average 393.
It was 393. Now you're talking about at the pump.
Yeah.
I was going to, well, we can do that too. We can talk about at the pump. I was going to talk about, when you sell it, but it was,
Price per, okay. $90.
So- Bobby?
$90.
No, it started $9 this morning
90.
and it went to 113, didn't it? Right?
Let's see.
I think it went at least to about 110.
Well, it dropped today because of the news.
Well, but in between it went up.
We'll see what the high was. I gotta look. I don't have that.
What was the low?
$88.
That's where it ended?
Yeah. Brent crude, Brent crude fell to $100, just under 100, so 99.
Yeah, we're working on averages. That's essentially where it went. 90, 110, and it ended up at 88. So the whole day starts at 90, it ends up at 88. and nothing happened today,
Right.
right? Now, if you want to look at the at the pump, right? What was the average today at the pump?
393.
Two what?
393.
393. However, how much was it in the cheapest state?
Oh, Texas is that the cheapest state?
Yeah. What was it? Cheapest
I
state?
don't know, I'd have to look.
Yeah, that's what I'm having you do.
Oklahoma, 325.
325 Oklahoma. Oklahoma wins.
California's the highest.
How much is California?
579. What the? That's amazing.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah. Why does it have to be that way?
579 to 325. Gee, that's a lot. You want to learn how to do this? 4, 5. That's almost what gasoline should cost you. It's $2.54 more in California. California is almost double Oklahoma in gasoline. So you got to look at the average price of gasoline, which I guess they're saying is $3.93, right? That's not a bad price when you have the kind of war going on. And then there is a tremendous chart here done by 2 oil experts that show that what happens with a war. And what happens with a war, this gets us the Iran-Iraq war, the Iraq-Kuwait invasion, Desert Storm, Iraq invasion, Israel-Hezbollah, NATO, Libya war, Crimea accession, Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Hamas war, and the present one. What always happens is there's an immediate uptick. Beginning of the Iran-Iraq war, it went up 55%. The beginning of the Kuwait war, it went up 12%. Beginning of Desert Storm, only 7%. Iraqi invasion, for some reason, economics never follows rules. It went down 273% because everyone assumed we were going to win the war, right? The Israel-Hezbollah in 2006, in other words, after the vicious terrorist attacks, it remained stable, 1%. When we took out Gaddafi in Libya, it went down 5%. It eventually normalized within a year and went up 10%. The Crimea annexation by Russia brought it down only 3.2%, but because it's Russia and Russia continued to steal their oil, after a year it went down. It went down 44%. So what basically they're saying is when the war is over, it regularizes. And the sooner this war is over, this is going to regularize. But it's panic mode until that period of time. Now, you know, there's a story that's an old one. And there are 2 stories that are old ones. One that I feel I have got to warn you about. Proxy alert for the whole world, for Americans. But they do qualify it a bit so you can narrow your scope a little here. The reality is that Americans are on high security alert for a possible Iranian attack. And especially focusing on the Middle East. This does not appear to be a warning for a domestic attack, but I'd say be vigilant. Be vigilant. Report what you see. It's a dangerous period of time, and there are a lot of unknowns we're dealing with, a lot more than I ever dealt with. Now, we have once again, we used to spend a lot of time on this in the past. And of course, I thought we made our point. But just in case, I just want to remind you, this has not stopped. It hasn't stopped. And that is the immigrant aliens who kill people, rape people, and get away with it. For example, and this is a pure case of political George Orwell 1984. The name of the name of the murderer, Jallo. His last name is Jallo, and this is impossible to figure out what he's doing in the United States. He's a 36-year-old ISIS link maniac, and he was convicted way back in 2016 of supporting ISIL. And apparently he was trying to pull off another Fort Hood attack, where the guy walked into Fort Hood with his gun, just started shooting up, yelling out, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And our president, Prince Obama, of some tribe or other, couldn't find that was a terrorist incident. Not that he doesn't know who Allah is. I mean, a period of his life when he was Muslim, he was praying to him every night. Oh, but he's not a Muslim now. Is he a Muslim now? So this guy was convicted of being involved with ISIL, which is another name for ISIS. So this is not a joke around. This is like for real. And they let him out. They let him out early. So Biden lets him come into the country. Biden lets him make a spurious claim of asylum. He commits a crime. He gets out. Now, what country with half a brain wouldn't throw him right out of the country once he finishes his prison sentence? We're going to find out why we may not do that, but we don't. We kept him around. He committed another crime. They let him out for another crime. And then he showed up this Thursday at the University of Old Dominion, and he killed a officer. Could have killed a lot more, but for the fact that the kids in the offices opened fire on him and just made a pincushion out of him. As he was yelling, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And you can't find this in the paper as one example. Just one example. What? Clean this for me while you're being entertained by me. What do you live for?
Well, we're waiting for our guest, but we'll get back to it.
Well, if the guest comes, we'll go with the guest. But right now, I want to show them something because I got to make this point. I've got to make this point. I have to. This is an important point. I need my.
Okay, I got it. Yep.
Got another whiteboard?
Yeah, but I got it. It's over.
All right, but I'll clean that one up.
You got to get up. Let's make your point. Let's
You know, I got to get more of those big pens. I have them around here somewhere.
Here you go, man.
I'm not going to do this in order. I'm going to just do this here. I'm going to say this Old Dominion thing took place on Thursday. Oh, I'll get the date. But the guy who did it, okay? The guy who did it was serving time for being a guy who worked with ISIS. And that was in 2016. Well, actually, he was sentenced in 2017. In 2017, this is Jalan. ISIL. Okay? Now, he has a heck of a history. He goes to jail. They let him out early. They let him out 2 years early. He had been influenced by the Fort Hood murder, which is the one that Obama could never make a terrorist act. He's a citizen from Sierra Leone who came in illegally. That's one illegal. And he killed a soldier. Okay. The Democratic prosecutor in this case, even though this guy was a member of ISIL, used the Allah Akbar, says this is a gun control case. He forgets that this guy is part of a tradition that goes back to the half moon scepter. Muhammad doesn't tell them how to kill them. Actually, he does give one recommendation: slitting their throats. That's the preferred way to kill them. But this guy, Rahman Fatehi, please remember this name because he never should be anything anywhere. Rahman Fatehi. Let's find out where he comes from. Rahman Fatehi says this was all the fault of the availability of guns. The availability of guns in New York. That was it. Then we have Jalone, right? Mm-hmm. At Old Dominion, right? Who just this year he kills an officer, right? Mm-hmm. And he does his in the name of ISIS,
right?
With all kinds of ISIS stuff in his car. Okay, so we got that one too. Oh, and Fateh. Now, oh, here's another little beauty. Now we have this is easy to remember. This one takes place. This one takes place right now, and I would say, what does it last? This is last. I think this takes place last night. Yeah, well, this takes place 2026, March 23. It takes place in Chicago. It's a beautiful, lovely young girl, a co-ed at University of Chicago. She's killed by Jose Medina. Jose Medina was previously released from custody in Chicago. He came in illegally in 2023 as a Bidnista, right? No check on him of any kind. He was arrested in Chicago. Since then, because it's a sanctuary city, they didn't let anybody know. So on March 19th, March 23, he kills Sheridan Gordon, 19 years old. We got to keep doing it. We got to keep doing it. Do we really? Do we really have to keep doing it? Do I really have to keep writing these down? And why? Oh, of course we have Bela Mohammed. They're all Mohammed, right? Mohammed Bela Jallow. And we have his boyfriend, throwing IEDs near Gracie Mansion. So there I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 weeks. We don't go around the country. I mean, we could go today to London and see the people that were killed that were part of the ambulance, Jewish ambulance service, couldn't we? Mm-hmm. There's a war on Judaism, and there is a war on Christianity. Are they connected? Yes, they're being carried out by Muslims who carry out the word of the Holy Quran. Ah, yes. Take not the Jews and the Christians for your protectors.
Right. Well, we have some new information on these attacks on these ambulances belonging to Jewish volunteers in London. This video shows men lighting the truck on fire here.
Was that now? That was the attack today in London, correct?
Last night, yep.
Now, do we have our guest?
We were waiting to connect with him. There's let's see if we got him now. Reza, are you with us?
Well, there's an excellent article today, and I would like to have gotten him on the show, and we're going to work really hard to do it. Victor Hanson Davis, if you're listening to us, we really want to talk to you for good reasons. You wrote a very short piece. I wish it's longer because it needs more. It needs more. The piece is about what has happened to immigration. And he goes back to his own experience with immigration, which may very well be very similar, with a few differences to yours or mine. And he says that my Swedish grandfather, disabled by poison gas while fighting in World War II, loved all things Swedish, but not nearly as much as America. That could have been my grandfather, Rodolfo. 4 Hansons fought on the front lines of World War I and II. Well, at least 2 Giulianis did. several on the other side of the family. And my grandfather had the same attitude as Victor's a Swedish grandfather. Fight for America. If you don't want to fight for America, go back to Italy, you jackass. But something went terribly wrong because all these people who came to America loved America. They came here with that love, and we let them in on merit. Not merit meaning they had the highest IQs or the high merit meaning they wanted to work hard. They wanted to build railroads. They wanted to build buildings. They wanted to put cement together. They wanted to fight for America. Now we have people who are here at our sufferance. They're here because we're nice enough to have them here. And they're rooting for our enemies. When you root for Hamas, you're rooting for the people who kill Americans. When you're rooting for Iran, you're rooting for the people who killed lots of Americans. Do you think I like having you here? I don't understand why I can't kick you out. Mayor Mondami is unbelievably supportive of the people who kill Americans. And he seems to hate Jewish people with a passion and not have much respect for my religion, the Catholic religion. His wife, Rawa Douaji, seems to be worse, if possible. The things she supports and the people that she supports praise terrorist Hamas killers, sworn enemies of our country. Fine, what are you doing here? Maybe trying to undercut us. Then he goes through the list we just went through and wrote out on the board here. Kilma Abrego Garcia. What's he doing here, right? Diagni, a naturalized citizen from Senegal who shot up a beer garden in Austin, Texas. On March 7, Amir Balat and Abraham Kayumi, through IEDs, toward a conservative protest. They didn't throw it at Gracie Mansion, as the lying scumbag press says. Mm-hmm. They threw it at a conservative.
Right.
On March 12, Mohammed Jalla, a naturalized citizen from Sierra Leone, went to Old Dominion University and murdered Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw. That very same day, Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, who had strong ties proven to Hezbollah because his brother was killed, who was a Hezbollah murdering terrorist commander, ran his car into Temple, Israel, what was the apparent attempt to kill many children. Thousands of driver's licenses have been issued to both illegal aliens and legal residents, including those who don't understand English and are utterly qualified to read any of the signs. They've killed people. How does the U.S. adopt such suicidal policies? We used to admit immigrants on merit, family connection, ability to have a job, ability to be productive, quite specifically, the ability to make us better. Why shouldn't we? We can't admit the whole world. So why shouldn't we admit on merit? It's a complicated society anyway, and you need a fair degree of intelligence to negotiate it. But the left saw a way of overcoming or getting around its socialist, and I think Miranda, a communist agenda for sure, Marx agenda. I mean, here these people come to America and they burn an American flag. they carry a Mexican flag. Exactly why would I go? Why would I take a trip to pick a country, Iran, and carry an American flag and burn an Iranian flag, unless I wanted to go as part of the army to kill? How crazy is that? And why do we let them in? And why do we let them burn flags? It's an open season on Jews. Wow, it sure is. He ends it with a question and an answer. There's a lot in that answer, and I'd love to interview him, Ted. Who created our Frankensteinian monstrosities? We did. But the real answer to it, Victor, is how did we do it? And I really feel that your answers on that, and I can go find them in books and elsewhere, and I think I know some of them. But I'd love to have you come on and outline those for us. Even 4 or 5 we can work on, because I think the why there can be enormously helpful to those of us who are trying to do something about this. So Victor Hanson Davis is on the pile. All right. And prosecutor Raymond Fatehi is on the pile for being removed as a prosecutor for blaming the shooting at Old Dominion, which took out the life of an ROTC inspector. They can't figure out what it is, even though it says Allahu Akbar. I'm sorry, that's prima facie evidence of what it is. U.S. has an alert, watch out. They make it mostly overseas, mostly in the danger areas. But remember the sleeper cells and all of the murderers that have been let in by Biden. The oil market history, we'll keep watching it. But you're going to watch sort of a, not, I guess it's like a
merry-go-round, revolving door.
It's going to go up. It's all going to have to settle down before it settles down. That's the reality. And the numbers we're operating with, feel very, very confident, are nothing like numbers we operated in before. There are a lot of differences. We're energy independent now. We have far more outlets and opportunities for energy. We got tremendous pressure on our opposition. We can literally just cut them off from oil in a day. And I think we're going to have to come to that, right? I think we're going to have to come to that. So today, an immigration judge denied the asylum claim of Adrian Caneo Arias. He wanted asylum back to Ecuador. He came in 5 years ago and had no claim for asylum. Asylum is reserved for cases where you can prove you're targeted for violence back home. He cannot. Ecuador is a stable country. Only 12% of its immigrants have an asylum case that can succeed. He couldn't. So he and his son, young son, was sent back to Ecuador. And the left wing is going crazy because we did not make an exception to the law for him. This is what we have to do with immigration. We have to have fair laws that bring in the best people. not the worst, at all different levels, not just the best people in sense of making money. I'm talking about making money. I am talking about having a worth ethic, which goes to your character and your integrity. But I'm talking about a person who can take care of themselves. If you can take care of yourself, you can help to take care of me. And that's what I want. A whole bunch of Americans take care of me, and I can take care of them. Remember when Mondani said, I'm going to take $1 billion out of the police. They shouldn't be going to these domestic violence things. They shouldn't be going to these things on the street. We should send social workers. Oh, Mondani, what a stupid jackass you are. What you don't know about the streets and law enforcement. The most dangerous kind of case for a police officer is a domestic violence case. You walk in, Mary Jones wants you there. A big bully husband, Peter, is beating the living daylight shit out of her. The minute you go for him, she hits you over the head with a bat. Not all the time, not every case. Is that a syndrome? Read Behind Closed Doors, published in 1993, and still a seminal work that changed my mind forever. And reduced domestic violence in New York more than ever before. Because I acted on the things that were important. I acted on the things that saved the lives and improved the lives of my citizens. That's why I was there. That's how I could go to bed at night and say, I did my job. Remember Mondani said, I'm going to take, first you got to know, New York City police down right before Adams, $1 billion, which with the now retirements taking place in the Joint Terrorism Task Force, could be a national security issue. The first $1 billion that came out, disproportionate amount hit the task force. Tish had to walk a fine line today, and she wasn't complaining about not having enough cops, but she was on the Twinkie Toes statement. Well, you never have enough cops. You know something? Sometimes you do. I can show you situations having operated Comstat and being 40,000 times the cop she is, where you do have more cops sometimes. Okay, that's not the case in New York. $1 billion down, nobody trying to get it back. Instead, he wants to take out another $1 billion, but this will be better than the police. These people are gonna come when little Sally Jane is being raped by her stepfather, Ramos. They're going to determine whether to get Sally Jane out, or Ramos, having raped her, is now beating the crap out of little Sally Jane's mother. Sally Jane's mother or a neighbor calls, the police show up. Sally Jane's mother says he didn't do anything. Somebody outside raped the poor kid. Somebody outside also beat me up. What's the blood on? No, I don't want him arrested. I'm not going to be a complainer. I won't be a complainer. We changed the law so you could do it without her complaint. We changed the law so we could take her in and put her in a safe house with the kid. And the safe houses weren't like the homeless things. We fixed the homeless things as much as we could. We inherited it. We built these, and Joe Torre helped us build a lot of them. Safe at home facilities. The whole purpose of my administration was to look at social problems and analyze them and figure out how to fix them. Not figure out how to get more money for Charlie Rangel or the rest of the black politicians who stole money from their people. Gosh almighty, if the money that was sent from the Great Society on to today, to the black community, they'd be Elon Musk. So he had this big press conference, Mondani did. Can you find, Ted, the press conference for the Department of Community Safety?
Yeah. Let me look for that.
Oh, this is a great one. This is a great thing. Imagine having a department. Doesn't that sound nice? A Department of Community Safety. So now when these violent things take place where the cops just screw it all up, they're going to send social workers like Renata Francoise, who work for De Blasio in Neighborhood Safety Initiative. And she's going to have a commissioner. They don't give her name. And they're going to go, and when the guy is taking a broken mirror that he's smashed in half and made into a death-wielding shard, they're going to go and say, hey, Frankie, use your words. I think you should use your words, Frankie. No, please don't slit her in the throat again. You probably killed her with the first one. What's the point of the second one? So it'd be a very rational discussion, because this way you'll prevent unnecessary time spent on killing. Once she's dead, that he doesn't have to kill her again. You think that Renata Francoise, who had headed de Blasio's Neighborhood Safety Initiative, didn't the city get unsafe every year, every neighborhood under de Blasio?
Yeah, that's right.
So she's going to be the first deputy for community safety. Maybe as the post that will appease the Black clergy and activists who have complained that the mayor's socialist big tent hasn't found room for a top African-American deputy. Oh. Not doesn't see any blacks, huh? Well, who enslaved the blacks more than the Islam? Always found it strange that Black people moved toward the Islamic religion. And of course, large numbers do in Africa, even to this day, when no one engaged in slave trade. Longer and larger numbers over the bestiality of the murder cult, the Islamic religion. What do I have you looking up, by the way? You're working out there so long.
Yeah. Mamdani press conference on public.
Was
it recently?
It was on the staircase of City Hall. He packed City Hall staircase to sign an executive order creating Office of Community Safety. Now, he's not going to get the city council approval for it. You know why?
Why?
He can't. He's not going to get the $1.1 billion a year, which he was going to take from the NYPD, which would be another billion taken from the NYPD. I guess that's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to start small. He's going to start real small. Renata Francois is the deputy mayor and is all, see them all? One would think they're going to work for the new agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The one on the right, Renata Francois, I assume, is the deputy mayor, and she's happy, she's clapping. She's the deputy mayor, but she's also in charge of community safety, but she shares it with somebody else, a commissioner. Maybe the guy on the other side. Also, congratulate Francois because she's the first black appointed to the administration. Okay. Now, here's the problem. It's going to be a $1.1 billion budget. Look at them all. Isn't that amazing? It is great how many have enthusiastically supported this, isn't it? I mean, you can really see the enthusiasm here at Potemkin Village. Do you know how many people will be working for the agency?
I'm afraid to ask.
Of that number? No, just guess. Make
20.
a guess.
20.
I can't say it. I'm going to write it out.
Two?
You know who the two are? The one on the right and the one on the left.
Well, they're very happy.
They don't have an office yet.
Well, they're happy. They got jobs.
They
here.
don't have jobs. They work every place. That whole group there on the left side, they run one they run one printing machine.
Yeah, yeah.
They only have to do one paper a day. The other side all come from the other side is all of the city council hirees,
Yeah.
all their
Appointments.
yeah, one of them, I see a couple there that haven't been there since I was there. They all work from home anyway. This was the group that came in working from home. Notice how pale they are? They're not out a lot, except for the few African Americans you see in a city. I mean, if that were Adams, of course, Adams overdid it with the African Americans, but it would be an African American crowd. There'll be just two people working for this agency, and it seems cardboard cutouts are the best he can do on any front. Unreal. That's just unreal. That's about as phony as it gets.
Right.
So we're going to have to keep seeing what's going on, because this is a very strange situation. First of all, the price of oil is being used and Hormuz as a bludgeon for ending this war. The best thing for the price of oil is this war ending.
Right.
Every time we've won a war like this, the price of oil has gone down dramatically.
Right.
And this one will affect it more than any other. The best indication that the ceasefire is not a ceasefire is that Hormuz is not open. And they are attacking as we speak.
Right.
Tehran scared Europe really badly because it shot a missile or two at Diego Garcia. You and I should open a psychiatric practice in Europe where you probably don't have to have a degree, just to calm the little sissies down.
Right.
Maybe we could give them bravery blood transfusions. I'll give them bravery blood transfusions.
I love it.
All right? I'll give you a little of my blood. It's called Italian American blood.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they got a new Christopher
So-
Columbus statue at the White House. Speaking of Italian, American.
U.S. and U.K. Is 2,500 miles away. So they shot off two missiles. One missed the target. The other disappeared. The other disappeared when a Navy destroyer launched an SM-3 interceptor. We don't even know if the interceptor hit it. It just ran away. Could that have been never gotten that from French?
Yeah, if that was in a French interceptor.
So now the French and the English are all nervous. But I don't know. They still can't reach you. So why not take them out? There are two people here I would like to see if we could have some conversations with. 'Cause I think they have some relevant information on this. And I'm going to give you this, Ted, so so we can really start working on it. Farzine Nadini is one of them. And the other one is Jeffrey Lewis. Okay.
Okay.
Here they are. And also Victor Hanson Davis. 3-hour delay in Atlanta. We covered that. ICE at the airports. The crude oil price went down $10 tonight, by the way. Maybe with TSA at the airports, they'll find out that they're not a bunch of monsters, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll find out.
They are really decent people who will help you. So Cuba is working on about half of its energy, and it's about time that it cave in and they get rid of communism there. It would be good if Ilhan Omar's 13-year-old daughter didn't go there, but I assume that's not her daughter with her brother, right? Right?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure. Well, I think we've covered everything that needs to be covered. Yeah, we got everything covered that needs to be covered. I'm going to outline for you, but I'm going to leave it to you to read because it's only fair that you read it. She wrote it, and she wrote it really, really well. It's an article. It's an article by Miranda Devine, and it gives a little attention. It gives a little attention to two people. One who I would assume she doesn't agree with, and one with whom she does. I know Richard Haas, and I don't agree with Richard a lot, but I do think he's a very, very smart guy and a nice guy. One idea by Richard Haas, who is an opponent of Trump's, and ran the Council on Foreign Relations and worked for Kissinger, I think, and that sort of background, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says maybe the better thing to do with Carge Island is blockade it. This way you don't have to get involved with boots on the ground. You don't have to get involved in too much shooting. Anybody who wants to challenge you, obviously, but blockade it. We have the ships to do it. Don't let any ship go in or come out. And if they try to come in, of course, that's when you're going to have difficulties.
Right.
But it will be naval or air. You don't think combination of naval and what we got there, we can keep any ship that wants to come out of there and blow the hell out of it? Of course we could. So that's his idea, and he says that'll avoid the boots on the ground that everybody's all, have their diapers all wet. And it should do it. Now, I'm not enough of an expert to know whether a blockade would work, but I look at the size of it, right? And I say, why wouldn't it work? Let's just take a little peeky at our favorite one here. What do I have here? Wait. Hold it. Wrong one. That's South. Oh, that's Charge. Yeah, well, let's get a better picture of it. We get even a better one than that. Let's go with the big picture. With the really big picture. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, now. Okay. So Of course, I got to always find one of my things now. We never have them out on time, do we? We never do.
What do you, your little pens?
Yeah, I need one of my things out here. One of my little pens. Yeah, one of these will work. God willing, God willing, God willing, God willing. All right. So we figured Charge Island's up around Bandar Kagan, right?
Right, up north.
Oh, come on. Oh, I know you're going to be hard on me.
The island up there.
Not going to work.
See if you get the map. Nope. Not yet. You want me to bring up a map of Car Island or the area around it?
Yeah, if you put one up there. I can't get my stupid thing working unless you see another one here. Unless you see another one over there. I don't.
I got two here.
We should just, I'm going to just keep these all out from now on. Stick them on my head.
Should I check your room?
Yep, this won't move. Well, the whole point of it is simple, but I don't even need the map for it. The point of it is that if we surrounded it with ships, they couldn't get oil out. They couldn't get oil in. We would not be using up. We would not be using up troops, which would be a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We think it'd be a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could, therefore, deprive them of the oil that they need. And then we could set up a rule that he says, if it's closed for one, it's closed for all, which seems like a pretty fair rule, right?
Right.
So you want to open it for China? You want to open it for India? You want to open it for Russia? You have to open it for England. Fair enough, right?
Right.
So that, I think that's a good recommendation that is worthy of consideration. It would put a heavy emphasis on the Navy, but it would take your boots out of the ground political issue off the table, right? The second would be to get the money that's going to be necessary to continue to win this thing. And right now, the 250 billion they need, it goes into the 60 vote category. Now they can do it as a reconciliation bill. I am not an expert on a reconciliation bill. If this becomes real, I will become one. I do know this about it, however. If you can find offsets and you can get 50 votes for the offsets in the Senate, plus the VEP, and you can get a majority vote in the House for the offsets, you can pass it. So, and you got to deal with the controller. And so you have to say, for example, how about this? We got to come up with $250 billion, right?
Right.
Why don't we just take $250 billion right now out of the program? The program's going to Minneapolis, which would only be a quarter of their fraud. And say, if that's a quarter of their fraud, and their fraud helps no one, we should be happy. We should easily be able to reconcile this with the quarter of the fraud. And then why don't we go pick a place like New York? And I'd be willing to give you an affidavit. If you do a audit of the homeless program, you'll pick up more than that. Because all those contracts would double or triple what they should be with no bid. And New York only does that starting with Boss Tweed for kickbacks. So you should not have to. You should be able to recover all that money from the state of New York and have them pay for this. Oh, there'd be so many offsets you could do. Fire half an agency. Pick it.
Right.
Yeah. Fire the people who aren't coming in. I tell you what, fire 5 people not coming in and hire 1 person for it.
Right.
And then take the 4 and put it on the reconciliation and give us the money we need to save this world from atomic destruction. That might not be a bad idea. What do you say, Ted?
I like it.
Sound pretty good.
Right.
Think they would have liked me in the Senate? Did you ever take a look at this Jose Medina, who murdered an 18-year-old girl, Shepard Gorman, on Thursday morning in Chicago? We mentioned her before. Shepard Gorman comes from Yorktown, New York. She's a freshman. She was out deeply loving and everyone's cheerleader. No motive. Reminds me of the first one we got really involved with, right? Lake and Riley. You know why they were out, Ted?
Why?
They were out on Prince Beach. You know why? To try to take a glimpse of the Northern Lights. This is her right here. This is the baby right here. This little girl right here. Right. That's the monster who did it over here. I got to get my hand over there. Ah, there you are.
We have it up on the screen.
So take Miranda's and Richard Haas's suggestion carefully. Blockades. I mean, we've got a hell of a Navy there. I don't see how we can't do a blockade. So I'm a little leery about this ceasefire since how much firing went on tonight? Hormuz is still closed. So we're gonna just close off with some kind of a we're gonna close off with just a we'll see. Well, they're not particularly helpful, except to say the ceasefire never became a true ceasefire. It was constant low to medium intensity conflict. There were airstrikes, artillery fire, small arms fire at civilians, targeted strikes. They do say 680 have been killed since the ceasefire. I don't know which ceasefire they're talking about. They may be talking about the Hamas ceasefire here. That's what I think. That's what I think. Yeah, let's be a little more careful. Let's say,
Well, President Trump is describing the talks as productive.
what?
President Trump has described ongoing talks with Iran as productive.
We continued attacks on military targets. There was a limited pause. We kept hitting military targets. Iran kept threats going and mining of the Strait of Hormuz. Dispute over whether talks even happened. Trump claimed that major points of agreements took place. Iran denied any negotiations took place. Oil prices dropped 10%. Stock market jumped. But the Strait of Hormuz is still not operable. Military operations are going on. There's no confirmed agreement. No stop to military operations. No opening of Hormuz. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a ceasefire in name only. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow, if it takes a day to set in or it goes back to where it was. Now, for my final thought, we're wasting time.
Doing what?
What does it matter? What does it matter if they said, what does it matter if they said, I don't know what they could have said to Steve Witkoff and to Jared. I can't imagine what they would have said to me that would have convinced me they were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose they said to me, we're going to close down the Gulf of Hormuz. I'd say, no, you're not. I tell you what, just get everybody out of there. And we're going to get rid of your island. And we're going to open up a bigger passageway. And we're going to take over occupation of it for the next 4 years. And we're going to run it. And if you don't like it, first of all, we're going to destroy all your energy. And then we're going to stay all around this area. And every time you try to put it back up again, we're going to knock it out until you get rid of the Ayatollah. I heard the president say he'd negotiate with an Ayatollah. Mr. President, do not negotiate with an Ayatollah. He will not tell you the truth. What is the point of having a paper where it isn't worth the print that's on it? Oh, they're just going to get more people killed. This is the Chamberlain, Keir Starmer. Hopefully we learned our lesson and the president's playing a game. Let's see. We'll find out tomorrow. So come on back tomorrow. We'll be on Wendell TV. We'll be there on Tuesday at 7. We'll be here on America's Mayor Live at 8 o'clock, and we'll have plenty for you. Thank you, and good night.
God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.